I'm going to go back over here and pop in on this. This is our spotlight. This is Johnny Hughes. Wait, all right, I think we got you back, Trey.
Okay, we got Johnny here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to do a set? Go ahead, talk, Johnny.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got you, Johnny. We're seeing what's on that screen in front of you is what we see right now.
Okay, I can't hear them, but
Okay, I'll turn this up. Go ahead.
okay, I'm ready whenever y'all are.
We done. Go.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the pepper mill, and basically just like this blank here, you want to start with something that's 2 3/4 to 3/4 inches square, and you want to make it about 1 inch longer than the pepper mill you're going to make, because you're going to need to turn some tenons. And speaking of those tenons, they're depending on the length of your drill bit, and if you're going to drill it all at one time or not. When you start turning this, you're going to need to make a tenon on each end. And if you're going to drill it from both ends because you don't have a long enough drill bit, then you're going to need a third tenon there. When you'll see when we get to cutting the body in there how the tenons come through. But I have a long drill bit, so I'm not going to make these extra tenons here. Okay, so just bear with me a minute here, and we'll see. This is basically what we're going to do here. We're going to turn it down to the length we want. We're going to cut 2 pieces and drill 3 different size
90
holes.
degrees.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
Like so.
No, the other 180 now.
180 degrees. How's that?
No,
Can everybody see that?
turn on another 90, so the writing will be straight.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to turn it around to the diameter we want. We're going to drill 3 different size holes through here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get that started. The first things first is turn it around. And to do that, I'm going to take this out of here. Put this right there. And here we go. Let's see. And that's the one I want. Right about here.
Just
Is your blank always the same length, Johnny?
It's what?
Is the blank always the same length every time? I mean, I don't know anything about the kit, so.
No, the kits come in various lengths. You can get them from, I believe it's 6 inches on up past 12. But normally what I do, I order a lot of them that are 10 inches because I make them various sizes. But the most popular one that I make is around 7 inches, 6.5 to 7 inches. And it's a good size. The ladies like it because they can grip it and do that. It's just a good size for that. Okay. And to make them, if you get a 10 inch, you can make a 4 inch out of it if you want to. Basically, the only difference in them, there's a 1/4 inch aluminum rod that goes from one end to the other end. And you can cut those. When we go to put it together, I will show that you can actually cut those. This is a 10 inch rod that comes with a 10 inch pepper mill kit. And I've already pre-cut this one here down to the size that's going to fit a 6.5 inch pepper mill. So, and all you do basically is cut it off with a hacksaw, take a hammer and peen the end of it over to make it bigger so it won't slide through. We'll get to that in just a minute. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to round this out real quick. And
now, can you let me know how you it is on listening to Johnny with the hood on? I can put a mic if he needs it. Go ahead.
okay. real quick. That's pretty close to where we want to be. Okay. We've got a little rough edge on there. We're going to take that out. You notice it's a pretty smooth cut, and that's from riding the bevel on this roughing gouge. Just spin a roughing gouge. If you ride the bevel on it, you'll get a smooth cut, almost like a skew. So, that being said, I'm going to put the last cut on it here with the skew. And let's see if that got it. Nope, still not right. Let's see if we got all the round out of it. Still got a little bad spot right there, and we're going to need that. So I'm going to hit it one more time. See what that looks like. A little spot right there. One more time. One more pass. I still feel one spot here. Yeah, we got one little flat spot there. Not going away. I'm going to say it's gone now. Let's do this. This is a story stick, and I use these for anything that I'm going to make more than one of. I'll draw up a story stick, and in these story sticks, I have basically the design of the pepper grinder that I'm going to make. I have little lines here where each of the little beads and coves are going to be cut, and there's a little V-notch in there that allows me to lay my pencil right in that V-notch.
Johnny, move that closer to the camera, higher to the camera so you can see it better.
I don't know if you can see it there, but these little V-notches lets my pencil ride right inside of it there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that, and we'll do that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, one thing I didn't do, is square off the ends of it. I'm going to take my little bidan right now and do just that. Just in case I didn't get the ends squared up, and I set them on the damn side. This is a piece of cherry wood, by the way, so we're going to do that in we're getting ready to drill it. But first, I'm going to have to cut a tenon on this end down here. And in order to do that, let you see that. So I'm going to raise this tool up a little bit. And a little low. Good thing, anyway. Put a little dovetail on it. That will allow me to use a chuck here. So, back this out and put a chuck in here.
Test. 1, 2, 3 test. 1, 2, 3 test. Johnny, try this. Somebody said you were getting an echo. I think it's because of the mask. It just bends any way you want to. Slip that in your pocket.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Let me turn that on. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Sounds
Yeah.
good. It's louder.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That'll work then.
The problem was the problem on the echo was he's speaking underneath the mask and the camera and the mic wasn't picking up very well.
Might consider moving the mic a little bit away to the side of your mouth. We hear you breathing too.
Okay, I try not to breathe much, but I'll move it out the way here. Let's see. Is that better?
It's amazing what they'll ask you to do here.
I thought we were going to charge extra for the heavy breathing.
Only for you, Doug.
Guys are going to get our PG rating. On. You lock those down, Johnny?
Yes, that's we kind of had to use an adapter here from this Canadian lathe. Had to use an adapter down to 1.25 inches here, so we'll do that. Okay.
I didn't catch it. You weren't in your shop. I saw on one of the cameras there was dirt on the floor, and it really didn't set me off. I really should have caught it that time.
Yeah, let's see here.
I hope Trey's cooking you some good dinner.
Let's see.
Say again, I missed what you said.
I said, I hope you cooking Johnny a good dinner tonight.
There you go.
He came over after dinner.
Yeah, I had jambalaya there. You talk about Louisiana.
You should have brought me some. That's the problem.
I made jambalaya today. So
Johnny, did you have the center located on the right-hand side of the piece as you're looking at it? You went up to a point. Did you have a center located on that?
yes, I did. There's, I used the step center on both ends. So, and when I flip it around, the step center is still right there. It's got the one indentation, the center is marked, and that should hold it right there. So, we'll see how it turns. Imagine that. It seems to work all right there. So, let's see here. I'll get in here. Yeah, I forgot about that. I moved out there.
Well, I want to go to this second image.
Okay. All right, here we go. What I'm doing is rolling beads here, and a lot of times it helps people roll beads. If you mark the center where your bead's going to be, to kind of get it evened out there. It just... And this is just a detailed spindle gouge. We'll roll the beads there. Then I'm going to come back with my D-Dan again to cut this down to the size I want it to be there. So,
And if you notice, when he's using the B-Dan, the bevel edge is up, not down.
yeah, that's something I learned just a while back there, that a lot of people use them up the wrong way up there, but that's the way it's done. So, okay. And then I'm going to cut this end down to where I want it. And I'm just going to cut this down with another spindle roughing gouge. Okay. Now it's probably going to be a good time to drill this. I'll turn the speed down a little bit. Take my tailstock out and now we're going to change over to a Jacobs chuck or a drill chuck, depending on where you're from. So let's see here. And then we're going to come in here with an 1 5/8 drill bit to make the recess. And I like to start with a short bit because the long bit tends to wander. And you may start in the center and wind up halfway out down there. But we're only going to go a 1/2 inch with this 1 5/8 drill bit. And that'll allow for a recess for the mechanism to sit in there. Okay. We're a little fast here. Let me crank this thing down a little bit.
Notice as he's drilling this, he's got his hand on that chuck at all times.
And why was that, Ronnie?
I'm sorry, what you said?
Why is he holding on the chuck?
He's holding on to the chuck for what somebody said earlier. If you don't hold on to that chuck can come out of the tailstock and you might get injured. Anytime you use a chuck on a tailstock, you want to hold it just like what Johnny's doing right here.
Oh, so when you pull it back out, it doesn't come out.
Correct.
And when you're pulling it back out, if it comes off, if it gets out of line a little bit, you'll get a vibration.
And basically it needs to be about a 1/2 inch. The magnet grabbed that thing. Scared me for a minute. Okay. I'll jump back like I've been bit. Let's see here. All right. Let's get a little air here. Oh, are we on? And then we're going to take this one out. And it calls for an 1 1/16 drill bit, which is the, and if you don't have the 1 1/16, which are not really a common size, you can also drill it out an inch and then widen it out a little bit with a gouge there if you want. But I happen to have an 1 1/16 bit here. And so we're going to get back in here and drill some more. Because you really don't want to burn up your drill bit, so.
Hey, Johnny, you might want to bring up to everyone why you drill the bigger hole first instead of the smaller hole.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I usually mention that, but
Unlike a twist drill, when you drill with a forstner bit, you always drill the biggest hole first, because the forstner bit leaves a little indentation for the next one. So that's, with a forstner bit, always drill the biggest hole first, and then your smaller one inside of there. Thank you. And
You're reminding me of my dentist every time you do that.
yeah, it kind of works the same way there. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to have to get precise here. So I'm going to take the measuring stick here, and this is going to be the top of the bottom half of our piece, and that is, get the big numbers, 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, change this a little bit out, and we're going to go to an extension. And I like the way that moves in there. Okay.
Just stick some CA glue on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. Funny, I never thought of that. Hey, let's see here.
Yeah, but just make sure you have a release agent available.
Okay. As it turns out, that 5 1/4 is going to be right where that tape is. Can you imagine that? Isn't that a coincidence?
Now, for new turners, Doug was joking about that CA. Put nothing on your Morse paper. Nothing.
I always like to keep the hole blown out so that it doesn't overheat your drill bit.
What's the speed of the lathe, Johnny? How fast are you turning?
There's no indicator on this one, so I'm just going to guess. I like to do it around 500-600 RPMs normally. And that's pretty close to where it is right now, I would think. So. Okay, that's our 5 1/4 inches right there. So,
John,
so moving right along here. I'm going to
Johnny?
take this out. Yes.
If you don't mind here, let me do a little bottom of the hour thing. You're tuned into Worldwide Woodturners, folks. This
Okay.
is Johnny Hughes. He's out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and he's turning a pepper mill for us. Johnny is one of our members. He's co-doing this with another one of our members, Trey Lynette. They're both in Trey's shop this evening, and they're doing this demonstration for us. We will have gallery this evening, and the gallery will be for members who have not shown before. So if you want to get on it, send us a chat. Doug Rose in Arizona, and he'll put you on a list. And Doug will be going to you for gallery as soon as this demonstration is done. We're watching Johnny Hughes right now, and if I can figure it out, I'm going to get out of here. There we go. Wait, all right, there.
Okay. Well, I've got it down at a slow RPM, 500, 600, whatever it is. I'm going to go ahead and get quick sanding. So I got to get my pencil line over there. And the pencil line is really a good thing for a lot of folks when you're first turning beads. It'll help you to get the center of the bead more or less where you want it. Maybe I should have made a lighter line there. Yeah. Yeah, don't use a Sharpie. Okay. Now normally, I'd go ahead and run this thing up to 320 grit and sanding. I've got one spot there I got to get out of here though. I'd run it up to 320 grit. And then I spray them with water. And I let the water dry naturally. And that causes the grain to rise in it. And then I'll come back and start again with the 320 or 280 and bring it up to you know, probably 320 or 400 on there to get it done out there. So one other thing I want to do here before I part it off is I want to touch up this bottom just a little bit. What I'm going to do here is take a spindle gouge. This is a Mark's lathe grind on it. And what I'm going to do is just kind of taper this edge here. It'll give it a smoother finish and taper it out. And I can turn it up for that. And that's a much smoother finish than what we had there. Okay. And there again, that's just a spindle gouge where it's been cut back. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's kind of pointed there on the end. Okay. I like those. And I'm going to come back in here and just kind of smooth this out, because this is going to be the last chance. You only one tenon, so I'm going to do it all in one shot here. There you go. I'm not going to take up a lot of time sanding this.
Johnny needs a Band-Aid.
Yeah, that's. Don't ask me how I did that. I don't know. But I hit something somewhere, so.
Listen to the professional, Johnny.
Just
There
put
you go.
CA glue on it.
Super glue, right?
Well, remember,
Super glue and wood shavings. You'll be good to go.
There you go.
we had to use duct tape because we didn't have a CA.
Yeah, duct tape works too. All right.
Just don't use accelerator.
I think
Okay.
Doug has some stock in the CA glue company. He keeps recommending it for everything.
Yeah.
It's my
Okay.
cure-all.
Now this is where I'm going to part the bottom part of the pepper mill off because it's basically finished. And like I said, normally I would wet it down, let the grain rise, and then come back and sand it again to get it finer. But I can do that at another time. Normally, once I've raised the grain and sanded it down, I'll use a sand and sealer on it, and then I'll come back and put a lacquer finish on it. Lacquer is a pretty durable finish. Polyurethane is good for this too, or the tunnel blends are good. Well, the sand and sealer will raise the grain too. Yeah, so it's got enough alcohol in it and it'll do that. A lot of people use alcohol to raise the grain, but in my opinion, it doesn't get it wet enough and stay wet enough long enough to raise the grain. So I try not to do that. But bear with me 1 minute. I carry Band-Aids.
So does Brenda.
Yeah.
He went to the Brenda School of Wood Turning.
It sounds like Donald out of Australia this evening. Good evening, Donald.
Good evening, Eddie.
I drove not too far. You can see all the mess in my shop.
Okay, we're good there. But anyway, that's what I do. Normally, I go ahead and sand this down to 320, 400, put some sand and sealer on it, and then cut it free here. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this thing loose. Any parting tool will work. I prefer a fluted parting tool. It gives you a cleaner cut when you part it off there. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, if we measured everything right, there should be 1 1/4 inch hole down there. So, I want to catch this when it comes off of there. There you go. And it's off there. Okay. Yep, and you notice there's a hole all the way through it. Imagine that. So we got lucky there. Okay, I'm going to set it over to one side here for the time being. I'll point out something here. You can tell where the Forstner bit was here, where we cut all the way through. And that's 1 1/4 inch ring because we used 1 1/4 inch Forstner bit. So what I want to do, I'm going to come in here and cut down the sides of that and let this 1 1/4 inch piece stick down about 1/2 inch because it's going to fit inside of this hole to keep it from, it'll line it up with this. So, okay. So let's do this. We'll get our parting tool. I want to see one other thing. Imagine that. Got it right the first time. And what I'm doing here, I'm making a recess in here that this is going to fit into. Because if you don't make a recess that this is going to fit into, it's going to look like a ball sitting on top of this, and you'll see a groove around here where the opening is. Okay, that looks like about a ½ inch. Let's see what it looks like in real life here. I can't even read a ruler here. That's just over a quarter, which is probably going to be enough, but I'm going to do it like they say. Okay. Imagine that. And it fits right in there, and it's going to turn like a pepper grinder. We'll see to that. Okay, now I'm back to my storage stick, because the head of the pepper mill is on my storage stick here. And I know where I want to put it. It's going to come up right about here. And that will be the head of the pepper mill. So, turn this thing off before I move my... And I'm going to make another. Okay, that's going to be about the center of the head of this pepper mill. Okay. I'm going back to regular spindle gouge to turn this. I'm getting a little vibration in there. And I'm not trying to turn a spear here. I just want to, I like them kind of flat on top. So when the hardware sits on it, it sits flat. So. Okay. I think we need a little more speed here. Back again with the bidan. Okay. Now, before I forget about it, This little dot right here, we're going to drill this all the way through with a 5/16 inch drill bit. And this is the best place to do it, right here on the lathe. So, because if I had forgotten about it altogether, then we'd had to do it on the drill press. But I didn't. Okay. So,
Is that a twist drill, Johnny, or a Forstner or brad point?
well, this is actually a brad point, but with the indentation in there, you could go ahead and use just a regular standard twist drill. And that would work fine. Turn my speed down again. I like to drill slow because I don't like to burn up my drill bits. And here again, if I can remember where I put my measuring stick, I think it's right here. Little magnet there. Okay. That should be all the way through right there. I got this figured right.
That noise you heard was where Doug Hanby's beeswax comes in handy.
What's that?
That's where Matt Harbor's beeswax.
Exactly.
Yes, you heard that.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's it. We're through drilling now. And take this out. Now, it's just a matter of turning it on down and parting it off here. Turn that back on, turn that up.
You don't want to sand this first?
Yeah, we'll sand it before we part it off. Yeah, I'm gonna do that so I can sand it then. I'm going to part it off. There we go. It's off, but it's not round. We're going to take care of that right now. So. Well, my Allen wrench to take this off. Yeah. Huh? Oh no, I don't think that's the right size though. Not for the Novas. No. And I had one here. If I could remember where I put it. Well, that's embarrassing.
It wouldn't be a demo without something like this going on.
Everybody help look for a blue handle Allen wrench.
Great count.
Thank you.
It especially happens when you're not working in your own shop.
The thing was, is I tried to give him the blue handle Allen wrench, but that chuck doesn't use the standard blue handle Allen wrench. It uses some weird size.
Yeah, that's a Nova chuck.
It's metric. It's a Nova chuck. It uses a smaller Allen wrench.
It uses 8mm, guys.
There it is.
He found it. He found it afterwards.
Yeah, I want to need it again anyway, so.
What are you putting on now, Johnny?
I'm putting a smaller chuck that'll hold the head of the pepper grinder.
Does it not have the adapter on it, Johnny?
Yes, there's an adapter from the 33mm to the 1.25 inches.
He's got the pin jaws on there. That's what he's got.
Yes, that's what it is, the pin jaws. And they're going to allow me to come in here and hold the top of my feeder here. So let's do that. And it just slides right in there. Imagine that. And that'll allow me to turn this little bit off here. Stand back in case it comes over there. I think we'll be all right. Okay. I do have that tool rest a little bit high for this. So I'm going to come down to there, make one final pass from here all the way down. There we go. I don't like the way that looks right there, so I'm going to make a pass on this side.
There's a ridge.
Okay. Now we're going to turn this down a little bit. And we're going to give it a quick sanding. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out here is that I'll put my check key somewhere. This is, of course, is end grain. And one thing that you will know is that end grain will soak up more whatever you put on it. If you put any kind of stains, dyes, or even finish, it'll soak up more into it. So when I finish sanding this, I will sand it down probably to 800 or even 1,000, because the smoother it is, the less it penetrates. And rather than having a real dark spot on the head of this pepper grinder, there it is. It's right there. And that works just like so. Now, through the magic, we're going to come over here and put it in the paint bin. And that's what it looks like with finish on it.
Oh, that's that. Trey used ornaments.
There it is with finish on it. Just like that. That's how quick that lacquer goes on.
Man, I need to find one of those.
Okay, I'm going to put this thing together real quick. And
Johnny, that little board you had before may be good.
yeah, let me do that.
Position it directly under the camera.
Well,
One of those Craftsman drill press things for a pistol drill.
exactly.
Not that I would know that, but
There you go. Okay. So what we're going to do here, and on this one, it already has the aluminum insert on the bottom, which turns the shaft. Okay, and I've also cut down the shaft to the length that I need here. And
I'll make a note on those, on that little the little Craftsman drill press thing. They have a 1-inch diameter shaft on them, and you can use that instead of paying $100, $120 for the one-way drill wizard. It works just as well. And if you watch out for flea market, you can pick one up for about 20 bucks.
now, all I have to do is find my gimlet. So, and when you put these screws in, it's best to pre-drill them when you put them in there. Okay, this piece here just simply slides into the recess here that you have. And this is a gimlet. I don't know if any of y'all use those. Basically, it's a drill bit, but it's threaded on the end for self-starting. It's just a hand drill bit. So I'm gonna drill this hole with the gimlet. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's probably deep enough for that. Or you can do it on a drill press or with a cordless drill, any way you want to do that, okay? And then this piece here, and that's why after you cut it, you peen the head of it over so it won't go back through there, and it'll sit right there.
Can you flip your hood up?
Oh yeah, I probably don't need that now. So, all right, let's do that. Okay, so we have that in. We have our holes drilled. got to put it down here where I can line it up. And that piece will go in there like so. This piece here is going to go over the same holes. And these little screws are going to go in there to hold that down. I'm going to take it down here for just a minute where I can see. And these are American made pepper grinders mechanisms. I get them from a couple of different places there, but if you watch where you get them, they'll be good ones, American made. And you can also do these with salt grinders. The salt grinders, the difference in them, they usually have a porcelain instead of a stainless steel bottom in them. And what I just put on there is just a little retainer that holds it, keeps it from coming out of there. Okay. But now we have our shaft up here. That's going to slide in right there.
Do the American made ones have better screws in them?
Do on that other one. Pardon me?
Do the American made ones have better screws
What was that?
in them?
I think so. I know the mechanism seems to be better. They last longer and do that. So, but
I made a few a long time ago and it seemed like the screws were so tiny and short that they just didn't work well. They didn't hold well.
yeah, now some of them, the one kit that Craft Supply has little bitty screws for the top plate up here. So that's the finished pepper grinder right there. So
yeah, buy American, folks. Just buy American.
Yeah, that's it. But that's
sometimes it's hard to know though.
Where do you get screws?
Well, these say right there, made in the USA.
Steel.
I don't know if you can see that, but they say made in the USA on them. So
how do you load the pepper in?
That's what they.
How do you load the pepper in, Johnny?
What was that?
So where do you get screws?
Ask.
Where do you get?
Where do you get what?
How do you load the
Ask
pepper
the question
in?
again.
How do you load the pepper?
The pepper goes in through the top.
Where do you get spare screws?
Hardware store.
Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. You pour your pepper into here.
Now, if you got any,
and that's it. Pour the pepper into there.
Can you set the grind to
Go ahead.
coarse or fine?
Yes, by tightening or loosening this screw, it pulls that piece in to give you a tighter or looser grind. It does. So
if you have any of that spare,
it's easy to adjust. You just turn this knurl knob. What was that?
If you have any of that spare Matt Harbor beeswax, you smear it on the inside of that joint where they come together. It'll glide a little bit.
Yes, that's the thing. Now this has been lacquered and it glides rather well. But like you said, if you put the wax on it, it'll do better. One thing I forgot to do, and I hate to point out my own mistake here. Normally I cut a recess into here for that aluminum to go in, holds this rod. And I didn't do this in there and put the plate on there. But that's it. That's a pepper mill. And salt mills are the same way. Only just have a P on the top for the pepper, and they have a stainless steel mechanism where the salt has the S and the porcelain bottoms on them. But that's all it is.
Johnny. Half of the team.
Any questions?
Very, very.
Thank you, Mr. Johnny. Excellent, excellent job.
Great job, Johnny.
Thank you.
Nice work, Johnny. Excellent.
Great demo.
Thank
Great
you.
demo.
Thanks,
Johnny.
Johnny. Great demo.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you, folks.
Well done.
All right.
Did you know?
Nice
Did you
job,
notice I
cameraman.